Here's the big question.
How are agents like us,
who didn't get an opportunity to invest in a franchise early,
who are spending time and money to sell homes,
building someone else's saleable asset?
How do we grow a business but still build wealth?
Have an exit strategy,
and get a piece of the pie that's not dependent
on us working more hours and every weekend?
That is the question, and this podcast will give you the answer.
My name is Jay Kinder.
My name is Al Stasek.
And I'm Michael Reese. We are your hosts, and welcome to the One Big Fire Podcast.
What's happening, everybody? I'm here with my good friend Gary Wilson. Mr. Wilson, how are you today?
I'm doing fantastic. Thanks, Jay. Appreciate it. How you doing?
Man, I couldn't be better. Honestly, I don't think I could stand it if I was doing any better. So, man, I'm excited to have you on here because I still think people are just out there and just don't know the bigger opportunity of what eXp is all about. And I think your story and your decision to join and what you're doing here at eXp is something that a lot of people just need to know about. So. Let's talk through that. What is the Global Investor Agent Team all about? What were you doing before, and why eXp, and where are we headed with this thing?
Yeah. So the Global Investor Agent Team is a team I created myself. It's a national platform. So I just started, right around 1st of June. I've got 44 agents already on board, literally California, New York, Florida, up in Toronto. And the purpose is this. There's most agents in the residential world are mainly working only with owner occupants, and they're leaving a lot of business on the table, which is the residential investor business, flipping and anything up to 4 units as far as multis go. So my whole life was spent investing in multi-units and flipping homes and stuff like that. I got my license because I've been just being blunt about it. Most agents weren't really equipped to help me. They wanted to, good people. They're great helping me buy my own home. When it came to investment properties, they were not trained. So I created this years ago, a brokerage company. It's called Realty Advisors, and we focus on the small investor relationship. And I taught the agents how to work with the investors. So our tagline, if you want to call it a tagline, is, we train the right kind of real estate residential agent to work with the right kind of real estate investor who are typically business owners, professionals, and they're busy. And they want to invest their money wisely. They need us to help them do that. And, this solves that problem of not being prepared to work with them and then getting frustrated with us. We now have an outlet for that. So I've taught 24,000+ agents in the last 5 years in classrooms all across the country, and trained one-on-one, personally trained nearly 4,000 of them to do this. And all those folks are coming onto the team. So that's really what we're all about. And it's man, we're having fun. We're kicking butt. I mean, we just started, and Friday alone, we closed 3 deals on one day.
Nice.
And I got my first revenue check literally the very next month I joined. And so I joined in June 4th, whatever it was. End of July 22nd, I got my first revenue share check. And let me just put it this way. On one transaction, my revenue share was greater than all the profit share I got at the last company I was at for the last 2 years.
Wow.
So I'm like, people look at the formula, but more importantly, run your own numbers through it. That's exactly what I did.
Yep.
And the sky's the limit. You can build your business here, but at the same time, build your residual passive retirement income without doing a thing.
Right.
It just comes because you're being a good agent and you're helping other people be good agents,
It's that simple, right? Like, I wish more people could. You articulated that beautifully. It's that simple. We're helping each other. We're helping agents and getting rewarded by helping people. That's the business model here. So I love what you talked about. So one of the principles that I always have taught and believed in, it came from Jay Abraham. It was the 3 ways to grow a business. There's only 3 ways to grow any business, and one of those ways is frequency of purchase, which in every other industry, frequency of purchase, in a convenience store would be somebody, coming back to the store once a week or whatever, right? And instead of once a month. And the more you can get somebody to come back and buy from you again, the more you can earn from the customer base that you have and stuff like that. So, but in real estate, it's a lot more challenging. And, over the years, I was always looking for those relationships that were so fruitful that I was getting multiple deals from people. And the investor relationship is the best one. It's the number one. If you can find and you can really add value to that investor, they will buy from you and 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 refer other people that buy from you. And it's really it's one of the few ways you can get business, consistently every single month. Another is REO, another is a builder business and things of that nature. There's a few different niches that you can get into that are that, but this is really one of the best ones. And every agent should have a really good investor that they work with. I believe that wholeheartedly, and I know you do too. What is kind of the obviously it's understanding the numbers and what they're looking for and how to find that. But what else? What's the secret sauce to finding some of these investors, and how are you helping agents do that?
Yeah, a couple of things. So right off the bat, when I first I went from being an investor to being what I call an investor agent. So I got my realtor license back in January 3rd, 2002. I took the exam, got my license, right? And I recognized right away, a lot of investors would call me out of the blue. So somebody would come to town, do their 3-day weekend presentation, and they're pumped up, excited. They're like, hey, man, I'm gonna be making a lot of offers, and you're gonna be getting all kinds of commissions. But most of really, didn't really know what they were doing. I mean, they took this 3-day event, but they didn't have the internal knowledge of how do you actually know it's a good flip? How do you know it's a good rental? Well, I did know that because I'd invested myself. So what I did is I started teaching investors how to invest, okay? And it wasn't my own company. I taught for somebody else. And the guy heard about me, had me on his radio program, and I said, sure, I'll come on there. Just to he said, he wanted me to just tell my story. And it was fun. Then he started inviting me to come like once a month to do 2 hours on a Saturday, just like a cameo appearance in front of his students. And they found out that I liked it too. I was having a lot of fun teaching. Well, they found out I had my license. And they would come up to me and say, hey man, could you be my agent? Because I know you know what you're doing. And guess what they used to say?
What?
N-O. I don't do that, man. I'm an investor. I'm not running around opening up doors and putting out the pretty carpet. Well, after a while, I feel like, God's trying to tell me something. So I finally said, I walked into class, Jay, you'll get a kick out of this. I learned my first valuable marketing lesson. 25 people, and I said, look, I can only take out 2 of you. So guess how many people wanted to be those 2 people?
A bunch of
25, yeah. So in any case, I kept doing that. And man, I did 110 transactions my first year. 110 transactions.
Wow.
I had no assistance, no admin. So 3 years later, I'm making, $700,000, $800,000 GCI. And a couple things I want to point out is this. I did end up building my own brokerage company because I figured I'm going to keep all the pie. I don't do that now. It's much easier in eXp. Anybody out there listening and watching this, you're going to have a way easier time building your own brokerage inside of KW. It's not like a technical brokerage. You just have a realtor's license, but it's like you're operating like your own brokerage, and the corporate umbrella takes care of all the corporate stuff, management, operations, all the liability stuff, everything, So back to the beginning though, I built the team first, and then I built my brokerage. Now, when I did that, Jay, I decided, you know what? I'm only going to focus on the right kind of investors. And then I just figure out, well, what is that? Well, it's people, typically they're professionals. So for example, people, if you're an investor or you're an agent, take notes on this. Best class investors are your dentist, your chiropractors, engineers. There's 450 kinds of engineers in the world, a lot of them. And they think analytically, and they're time up front, but man, they make good decisions. Pilots, firemen, policemen, even teachers, military. That's probably the top 7 groups right there. So for example, think about a dentist. A dentist provides a service like we do, and they got to practice like we do. All right. So they got to run a business. They got to run a business that provides a service. So they got to feel, think, speak, and act like a business person. And those skills are very adaptable to real estate investing. So realize if I work with those guys, they'll make the fast, educated decisions on good properties, and I would get good commissions, right? So I didn't work with so much the no money down, owner financing, buying on terms people. I'm not knocking. If you're one of those, I'm not knocking you. I used to do that stuff, okay? I'm going to tell you firsthand though, so I'm going to put my investor hat on. You will do far better in the world of real estate investing when you operate from cash, okay? Come in with cash. Later on, you can refinance and pull your money out, right? Once I figured that out, my growth in my own investments went like that, okay? And more importantly, I learned to attract the people who were doing that. And so my brokerage business did the same thing. I didn't even launch my brokerage till January 2008. the beginning of one of the worst recessions since the Great Depression, and people thought I was nuts. But my business grew. It grew sixfold in those first 3 years. Remax was approaching me, Coldwell Banker, KW, everyone. Hey, man, we want to buy you because we want to be the investor guy. And I'm like, you can't just flip a switch. It's who I am, you know. So in any case, I stayed independent. Later on, I did a big merger, made big bucks on that one. But back to the beginning, I focused my marketing on those top groups of people who I knew would make good decisions on investing and come back again and again and again. So my average transaction rate per investor was a little bit more than four transactions per investor. That's per year, by the way. Okay.
That's great.
Yep. Some of them bought 17. One guy did 41. But on average, I'm getting paid 4 times for every one client. Now, in the owner occupant world, and by the way, I'm not knocking owner occupants. I love first time home buyers. But when it came down to me analyzing my numbers, I realized I'm spending more money marketing for owner occupants. I'm spending more time on a transaction, getting paid once. I work with investors. You've got to earn the relationship. You've got to prospect and get the investor relationship. But each subsequent transaction gets easier and easier. I mean, it literally got to the point, Jay, it was like a factory line. I mean, I literally had 22 transactions at the same time under contract, and I just ran it like a freaking business. I never had to worry about when the next transaction was coming. What I worried about was, man, am I going to forget something?
Right.
So that's key. That professional business owner, that mindset is critical to working with the right client. You know.
I want to unpack something you mentioned. Paying cash for properties as part of your strategy, and that's when things skyrocket for you. Unpack that a little bit more as to what you specifically you did there.
Okay, so in the beginning, just like everybody else, I'm going to Carlton Sheets and all the gurus, right? And everyone else selling no money down strategies. And I found out why. You know why they sell no money down strategies? Because when they ask me about money, people say, I don't have any money. And they say, hey, no worries. You don't have to have cash or credit. You can buy real estate, which is true. You can. I'm living proof. I did it for a couple of years. But it was a very slow, painstaking process because not many people will want to sell a property where they don't get anything out of it other than like you take over the loan and stuff like that. They're just like it's risky to them. But when I came in with cash, it got a lot easier. So here's what I want to tell people. I'm not opposed to you starting off, you know, with no money down techniques. In fact, I can teach you to. I've got my 6th book called Massive Passive Cash Flow Method, 540 pages. All these strategies are in there. But over time, when I was attracting these professional investors, well, I shouldn't say that, investors who were professionals, right? And they were coming in putting down 20% down, 25, 50%, sometimes all cash. And I recognized they're negotiating went faster, they got more deals, and they got better rates and terms on the loan. So I said, I'm going to do that. Started saving my money, putting down 20%. And as I grew, the more money I put down, the better deals I got. And what I did is this, we call it the BRRRR method, BRRR, buy, remodel, rent, refinance. Just remember BRRR. So I started doing that and started using more and more cash. It got to the point I was using all cash. And then what I would do, of course, so the 4th step was you refinance and pull your money back out. And there were a lot of properties we'd pull out, not just get our money back, but we'd pull out $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 in cash because we increased the value of the property, right? We pulled out cash. And so we had equity, we had cash, and we had cash flow because it was a rental. Well, very quickly, I got to the point where the portfolio of properties was feeding the business. I didn't have to put my own money anymore. And I'll tell you something else I did. Everybody write this down. I went out and got a commercial blanket mortgage on my portfolio. I kept the original first mortgages on what I had left, right? Most of them were paid down 50% or more. And I found a commercial lender who gave me 50% loan to value line of credit, commercial line of credit that would blanketed my portfolio. But it was enough cash collectively to go out and buy this next bigger building, which happened to be a 78-unit apartment complex. And now that one was a big piece to bite off at once. And it took me 3 years to turn it around. But what I did was I didn't buy it because it had deferred maintenance. I bought it because it had bad management, which taught me the next big lesson is use the BRRRR method, but do it with bad management, because you can clean up bad management more easily than you can clean up roofing and garages and plumbing and for all that crap. Man, maintenance and repairs will eat you alive if you buy stuff like that. Okay.
Right.
So I bought better properties, all brick, Traco windows, nice. So that's another thing. Ooh, this is something else, Jay. Go from buying the cheap, crappy stuff, which is what you're going to get with the no money down techniques, to buying better grade properties. Better grade properties, and you'll attract better tenants. You have a better business model. You won't have to collect so much. You don't have to go to court as much. And those properties also increase in value more. And that's the third part of how I was able to get. I don't have any debt now. I have no debt. I got no personal debt. I got no business debt. And it was all because I used that method. It allowed me to quickly pay down all those older mortgages. Right. And in fact, we've got a webinar tomorrow night on how you actually. So part A is build the wealth and income. Part B is hang on to it. Right. Right. So tomorrow night we're going to talk about how can you pay down your mortgages much more quickly, not just with a formula, but an actual computer software program that does all the analysis, and a big part of our strategy. So what I'm getting at is when you buy better properties, you have better rent increases. They grow more in equity. The banks like them better, and they'll give you loans more easily, and you can quickly pay those things down. So all I did, I just started paying off all the little cheap stuff. Got rid of all those mortgages, took the excess cash flow, started paying on the next bigger ones. And it was like Dave Ramsey calls it a snowball rolling uphill, right? And that's really, that was the third main piece is getting out of debt. And I can't even begin to tell you what that feels like. I mean, I could write a book on that. That's like financial freedom, Right.
Love it, man. That's awesome. So for agents, obviously, this is something that you're highly skilled at, and you've helped a lot of people do it, and you've charged a lot of money, and it's been worth it for a lot of people to pay you a lot of money. What's it look like now partnering with you and the global investor agent team at eXp? What does that look like?
So what I did leading up to this I've been training people since 2002, mostly investors. And then when I created my brokerage company, I went inwards and taught my agents how to work with the investors. And I kept all that material, everything I did. I kept it, and I created a training program of it. And then I started going around the country, literally, town to town, city to city, hotel to hotel. I call it teaching and preaching. Did that for over 5 years and made 7 figures every year doing that. But what I wanted to do the whole time was I wanted to get back into the game in production. So I decided I'm going to launch my own brokerage again. And if you know as well as I do, if you've ever done it, launching a brokerage, it's hard work. Time, money is expensive. Just go try to launch a franchise. Try to launch a Remax or a KW franchise and see how much that costs you. Well, at eXp, you don't have to do that. You can act like a brokerage inside the brokerage, and you don't have all those franchise fees. You don't have all that expense. You just have your own E&O policy that you pay through eXp, and you've got a benefit of reduced caps on the team and things like that. So what I did is I decided I'm going to do it. I'm going to launch my team, and I did. So now what I'm doing on the team is any agent in eXp can join. I didn't realize that when I thought they had to be in my downline. It's not true. They can, as long as they're not already on a team, they can join. If anybody calls you, by the way, I just want to tell you up front, if you're already on a team, I want you to talk to your rainmaker first before you and I have a discussion. It's just a professional courtesy. Regardless, if you're a solo agent or you're not an eXp, you can definitely join my team. You don't have to pay me up front. In fact, you don't have to pay for any training. You don't have to pay for any coaching. You don't have to pay for the leads. You just come on board and you'll get the leads. Check this out, Jay. I bought a program that uses the same software all the attorneys use to get probate, bankruptcy, foreclosure, not just in one county, but in all the counties across the country. And it also accesses all the MLS systems. So now I can give the leads to my, they'll get their own login and password. They get their own account because I bought it. I have the right to give them their own login and password. So now they got the lead problem solved. They got one-on-one coaching, right? And they're going to learn how to invest. So just so everybody knows, I just want to be candid about this. We're not like a normal average team. We're not. Yes, we work with owner occupants. But while most brokerages focus on the owner-occupant relation first, and the investors is something you do off to the side, we focus on the investor first. And then we get, for example, we work with a flipper. we get a commission when the flipper buys a house. Then when you put it back on the market, we get the listing. That's 2 right there. Half the time we get the buyer who buys it to live in. We get a 3rd one there. And if they got something to sell, we get a 4th one there. So what I'm getting at is we will get owner and occupant transactions within the construct of working with flippers. Okay. And then on rentals, you can't manage properties inside of eXp, but you can own another company that does that. Separate tax IDs, separate email policies, separate broker of record. So now we got property management companies all over the country from our agents. So when you work with landlords buying rentals, they are going to ask you if you can manage them for them. And if you want to be on the team, we show you how to do that legally and correctly and within the guidelines of eXp rules and regulations. Right. But what I'm getting at is whatever you do with investors, there's always at least one more line of business you can open up and leverage what you're doing to get 2 or more streams of income coming in. So anybody that wants to invest, or you're like me, you're an investor and you got your license, that's who we are. That's what we do. I mean, you can do a form. Like I don't have anything, Jay, here to give people to, hey, do this because it's going away tomorrow kind of thing. If the team is a team, if you like it, you just raise your hand, but they can go to a form. There's if you go to, I got my own personal website, realestatewithgarywilson.com. And on there's a tab that says work with me. All I ask people to do is click on that tab, fill out a little application. I hate to call it application. Just call it an interview form. It's not an application, interview form. And you can set up a call with me and I'll interview you and see if I think it's a good match for you. And you can decide if you think it's a good match for you too. And that's usually how we do things. I don't have any big, it's just basically word of mouth. And we look for people who want to invest, they are investing, and they want to build like a business out of this and include this in that model. So the thing I like about this is, if you think about it, the residential world does have owner occupants and investors. And if you're on my team, by the way, you automatically get Kinder Reese training. It's part of being in the funnel. So now you've got both worlds brought together in one pie. You can't, so everybody, if your market's 40% renters, then 40% of your business should be landlords buying rental properties, So,
makes sense. And what is that URL again, Gary?
It's my name. It's realestatewithgarywilson.com.
Okay.
And up top will be a tab that says work with me. Just click on it, fill out the form. I make you watch a quick video, fill out the form, and then select the time. This is important. Make sure you click on the button to select the date and time. It's like a 20-25 minute phone call. And I'll ask you questions, let you do the talking, and show you what it's all about, and then you can decide if you want to be. Not for everybody, but if it's for you, you got a home. You can stay as long as you want. It's an easy 75-25 split. Oh, by the way, that's only for your first 12 transactions. After you've done your split for 12 transactions or 80,000 GCI, no more split. You can stay to the end of time if you want, but it's the primary purpose is to provide that culture and that home for what we call investor agents,
Love it, man. That's a tremendous value for agents out there. So if you're hopefully everybody's starting to get the picture here at eXp. This is a platform. It's a platform where we get to add value to you. Like just like Gary mentioned, the investor. These are pillars of income. As you look at your real estate business, what are all the streams or pillars of income that you can have? And the agent that has the most pillars is the safest agent to not have anything happen to their business, right? If you had one pillar and that pillar gets knocked over, if it was like REO, I've had that happen with agents that just focused on REO and then REO dried up, and then what am I going to do with my business? So you should absolutely have investors as a part of your portfolio, your business, and the pillars in your business. And if you're interested in that, reach out to Gary. It's scrolling here across the bottom of the page, the URL to go to realestatewithgarywilson.com, and make sure you have a conversation. You owe it to yourself. It's not that difficult to become successful in real estate when you follow people who have been successful, right? That's the key, having the right mentorship. And with this opportunity, you get the best of both worlds. The retail side, we're going to help you with. Gary's going to help you with the investor side and help you grow your business. So I think this is great, man. I'm privileged to be in business with you, my friend. I'm excited about what you're doing and how you're growing and how you're taking advantage of what we all have here at eXp. look forward to continued fruitful relationship and partnership, man, my man.
I agree. I appreciate the opportunity to contribute, and I always appreciate the opportunity to help other people too.
Yep, that's what it's all about, man. That's it. Add value to people's lives. All right, everybody. Appreciate it, Gary, and we'll talk again soon.
Sounds good, Jay. Take care, everybody.